Well, I'll do it as we go in the meeting here.
Well, I'll walk.
Enough. Don't make me stop this car.
Oh, God.
I guess I'll do a video later. Make me laugh, I'll have you removed. So this may be a very quick one. For what we have for old new business.
Yes.
What I'd like to do is, during the end, is kind of bring this up, the letter that the chief had. I know he already gave a press release, but I want to acknowledge publicly.
They went to get a little motor scooter and they ended up with
I don't know if that's a good deal or bad deal.
the gang's on.
They always get money in the front row.
Right.
Yeah. Oh. Okay, I didn't know if it was
Not yet.
all right, let's get going here. I'm uncharacteristically late. So welcome everybody to the Tuesday, March 7th meeting. Everyone in the audience, council, everyone out there in TV land. So I'd like to start the meeting and asking everybody to stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Very well, thank you all very much. If I could have a moment of silence, please. All right, very well. Thank you all very much. Now let's move on to number 2, the adoption of the minutes. The regular meeting held on February 21st, 2023. I'll look for a motion from council, please.
Move we adopt the minutes of February 21st, 2023.
Second. Moved and seconded. Thank you, gentlemen. Any questions, comments? Changes? Very well. Hearing none, I sense we're ready to vote. All those in favor of adopting the minutes of the regular meeting held on February 21st, 2023, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. Ayes have it. The minutes have been adopted. With that, we'll move on to number 3, presentations, congratulations, and introductions. Catherine, if you would, please.
Very good, thank you. Under Community and Economic Development Activities and Events, I have reported in the town manager's report to the councilors, which copy throughout this evening, an update regarding the Planning Partnership Initiative Program, which is basically the Main Street project for a feasibility study. And so I've listed this separate on the agenda just to bring attention to it. The kickoff meeting for the Planning Partnership Initiative Program, basically the Main Street project, has been scheduled for Thursday, March 30th, 2023, 6:30 p.m. here in the council chambers. It was very important that we were able to match up the schedules of the consultant, the landscape architect, who was a sub-consultant, Maine DOT, Kennebec Valley Council of Governments, the mayor, and the members of the committee who were able to participate. So after some additional discussion, because the dates were very hard to get very many people signed up for, we were able to get some additional dates from the state. So the meeting will be held on March 30th so that all of the federal, state, and consultant will be available. The kickoff meeting will set the stage for the rest of the work that's going to be completed in the timetable. The consultant is very organized and will prepare material, so we'll have a productive meeting. I saw a copy of the agenda from another community. It has talking points all through it, so we'll have a guide to go by based upon our project and the steps that are required by the state of Maine. So this will be quite an interesting meeting, and that material will be going out at least 7 days prior to the meeting. The Maine DOT will be able to attend, so they'll be able to go through the process that will be involved. Thank you. We'll be also live streaming it so people can watch.
Okay, we all set for number 3?
We are. Thank
Okay,
you.
so what I'd like to do is kind of go rogue here for a moment, and it's rightfully so, and congratulations. I'd like to read a letter that Chief Morris had given to the council and actually sent it out in the press. So, Chief, if you let me read this.
Sure.
All right. So on March 6, 2023, at about 1800 hours, the Pittsfield Police Department, along with detectives from the Waldo Sheriff's Department, served a search warrant on Pittsfield Street in Pittsfield, Maine. During the search warrant, Pittsfield police officers were able to develop probable cause to charge 28-year-old Colleen Russell from Manhattan, New York, for unlawful trafficking of scheduled drugs for both crack cocaine and fentanyl. Russell was taken to Somerset County Jail for holding, and his bail was set at $100,000. I'd like to thank our law enforcement partners in the local community for their assistance. Releasing Officer Vicente Morris, Chief of Police, Pittsfield, Maine. So this is the quality and professionalism that Pittsfield Police Department now enjoys under Chief Morris's leadership and the officers that he has in there now. So I'm very happy to share this with you. Thank you very much, Chief. I've heard nothing but very positive from everybody I've talked to, and I hope people have reached out to you and your officers and to make you feel as welcome as possible. So thank you, Chief, and I'd like to have everyone at least acknowledge Chief and his officers. Wave to them, say hello, pop in, say hi. You know, I won't say bring them coffee and donuts, but, you know, muffins at least. Right? No, donuts? All right, thank you, Chief. Thank you very much. So with that, let's move on to public hearings. There are none scheduled for this evening, and we will go to number 5, reports. Any council committees for finance? Any report?
We had to cancel last week. 2 of us were sick, so we're planning to meet next Tuesday at 6:30, which works out better. There's more information that will be coming from department heads and whatnot.
Excellent. Very well.
Next Tuesday at 6:30.
All right, thank you, Jason. Ordinance committee, any report? No report. Very well. Board committee updates. Planning, Catherine, why don't you take anything from the planning department, Parks and Rec?
Yes, very good. We did check on the projects that are ongoing. At this point, although we do expect some projects coming in shortly, a project is not scheduled for the planning board. We're checking with them to see if they want to have a meeting to discuss different items they'd like to work on during the year. So I'll have that information tomorrow on whether the March 13th meeting will go forward or it will be canceled. If it's canceled or it will go forward, there'll be information on the calendar that's on the town website. Parks and Recreation, I know they're working hard. Our meeting has not been scheduled yet. Recycling is scheduled for March 15th at 6 o'clock p.m. Thank you.
What's that? All right, very well. Thank you, Catherine. Let's go to town manager's report, please.
All right, very good. You heard about the Planning Partnership Initiative, which is exciting to get going, and once we get going, we'll be building ahead here. Number 2, code enforcement coverage. We've been advised that Al Tempesta will be able to come back to work next month, and we're very excited about that as our code enforcement officer. Meanwhile, our alternate code enforcement officer, Travis Gould, is doing a good job. He's learning the ordinances and how the town is set up. He does find the work quite interesting. He is an assessor for a number of communities, also a licensed plumbing inspector. He's starting to be interested in doing more, so we might have another application. We do have a couple of applications now from people who are learning how to take the courses and are now certified as LPIs, licensed plumbing inspectors, but not experienced yet. But Travis has agreed to stay on until Al's able to come back and cover the town. And then hopefully we'll have a full-time code officer, and that will mean a lot more hours and a lot more can be done. Number 3, financial system. After compiling all the background on the tickets and other issues that were falling to Kara since the data conversion and everything, we have that material all together. The administrative meeting that the town clerk and I scheduled with Kara's representatives went quite well. We scheduled the meeting to focus on the issues the town has been having with the data after the data conversion. Their software staff was able to attend the meeting. A person who is able to take our data and then see if it's an issue that deals with training or it's an issue that is in the actual software itself and it needs to go to development and be fixed. So the software staff were able to duplicate all of the issues that we had with our data, which means these are development issues. There was one item that was a minor item he was not able to duplicate, but another town had that issue. So these items were all packaged up and given to the development office to work on. We don't have dates as of yet, but I know that they're at the top of the list. We also have a meeting scheduled with Trio Muller that has our water sewer meter. Oliver in the town. However, it had to be canceled because they need to have several people from Trio available, and they were not available. That then got rescheduled to this Wednesday, but it's been canceled too. And so it's got to take place next week so that we can work on an action plan with the water sewer so we don't have to manually punch everything in or add everything in. Number 4 on the foreclosures, we're putting together the information on the several properties that foreclosed that the council has heard about at their last meeting. These are usually properties that are land only or older homes that have a code violation. And we did check, and one of the properties that has a code violation. So in the process of selling the properties back to the individuals or selling them, those code violations will need to be taken care of. That's an important item. And so we are going back and researching all of the steps that took place in the prior tax liens also so that we can make sure that everything is in order for a disposition. And then we'll follow the tax ordinance, the tax property ordinance that provides for those who are residing in their home and using it as their dwelling to have the opportunity to buy the property back from the town for the taxes, tax liens, costs and interest that are due. And then on the other properties, you may want to give that option too, or you may want those to go out for sale. Number 5, the credit card. We're working on that with the second bank that has a program called the Community Card Program. More information was necessary. I had to provide a letter about tax ID number and a variety of other items. So I just used that council resolution that we approved at the last meeting. I guess I'll be using that for a few things now. All right, open position recruitment, the full-time code enforcement officer. I had noted that we do have we have 2 applications now. They're from people that are learning to be a code enforcement officer. They are taking courses and very interested in that and have passed the LPI, licensed plumbing inspector course, but not been a licensed plumbing inspector. I know that we wanted somebody that was experienced so that we could move forward quickly. Once we've got settled in, so hopefully there'll be more applications. If not, we'll interview the people that we have. And our alternate is starting to be interested in the position too. We have the administrative assistance position that there will be a lot more advertising shortly going into next Monday. Part-time help in the office, that would be good, but due to the lack of benefits, anyone that calls on that has decided not to apply for it. Good news on number 7, the federal grants website registration. This is an interesting new process in which we have been told 10 federal websites were put together. It's like a supercomputer that's supposed to weed out any corruption or foreign governments or others getting into the grants and stating they're a town or a business. And so that was a challenge. However, once we submitted our council resolution approved last week, it went through like a breeze. So we're all signed up until February 29th, 2024. Two other items quickly, general assistance cases. This is starting to get very intense. We have a lot of calls, drop by. We go through the applications. I think people are daunted by the application process because it is very strict and comes from the state. You have to have all of your information together, or at least enough that we can check. And so we do offer to help the people with them and put their budgets together and everything. And we are getting a lot of applications, but nothing in comparison to the number of calls that we're getting and the people that drop by and pick up the paperwork but don't bring it back. So this has got to be very time consuming, and the homeless situation that has hit the town now in this area is something that none of us have ever dealt with before. So we're trying to get people resources, but it is difficult for them. Number 9, Spirit of America program to celebrate volunteerism. I provided you with a copy of a list of individuals that we've looked at before that have been nominated for the application and been awarded the Spirit of America Foundation Award. So we're looking for somebody for 2023. I put down a list of the past awardees who were on the list originally. So look that list over, and if by this Friday, if you have any other names, provide those to me, and I'll look up their history and everything and send that out to the council. And then at your next meeting on the 21st, you can make a decision, unless you want to make the decision tonight. I figured you might want to think about it a little bit, see if there's anyone else you want to add to the list. And then on the 21st, we should make a decision, because we would want to give them their award in April, which is volunteer month, and make sure that they have enough time to invite their family and everything. This is something that we did every year until we hit the pandemic in 2020. We weren't able to celebrate the individual in a meeting, but we gave them certificates and thanked them and sent information out and everything. And the same thing in 2021. So we'd like to do it again this year. Thank you.
All right, Catherine, thank you very much.
And Mike,
Yes, sir.
can I ask a couple questions?
Yeah, sure, please.
Is Travis able to do anything with the buildings and whatnot? Is he able to keep going with that, or is he waiting on Al?
He's waiting on Al. However, he has condemned a building. He's done that before. He can write letters. If we have a new big problem, he can deal with them.
Okay.
He just can't, he doesn't have the ADB training, so he can't go to court and go too far along the process.
Sure.
But he can do initial letters. I can assist him.
If you could update we had an Excel spreadsheet from last year. I think
Yeah,
we should utilize that and then keep growing off of it.
Right, when we get Al back, we can do that.
Okay.
He won't know enough about
No,
those
that's fine.
properties.
Okay.
Yeah. But Al is looking forward to coming back.
And then you said the administrative assistant was going to be advertised. Is it not advertised right now?
I have advertised it, but I'm going to do a little bit more intense advertising for the code officer and the administrative assistant, because there are more people unemployed now.
Where is it being advertised right now?
I had it on the main today. Well, I've had a whole series of advertisements, which have cost about $2,000,
Right.
and then the time frame ran out. So right now it's on the website, because the time frame ran out on the Johnson Main site, and we only got two inquiries, which were partial applications.
So it's on the Pittsfield website as of right now?
Also, it's at the Career Center, so I'm going to update those too.
Okay.
I think that'll be important considering the region.
All right. Thank you.
So the
Thank
listing
you.
is available through anyone who visits the Career Center in Skowhegan?
Yes, and I'm going to update all that too.
All right, very good. All set, Jason?
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. All right, it takes care of the reports for number 5. Let's move on to number 6, old business. Catherine, if you would please, resolution 2313.
Resolution 23-13, tabled to March 7, 2023. Resolved that the town council authorize the town manager to execute a listing agreement with Allied Realty of Skowhegan for the Pittsfield Community Theater to continue the relationship with the brokers Heather Blodgett and Aaron Bolster with a listing price of blank.
I'm looking for a motion from the council, please.
We take resolution 23-13 off the table.
Second.
Okay, it has been removed from the table. I'll look for a motion. We removed from the table,
Right.
right? So now it's open for discussion.
Okay.
Or a motion. Now it's an active resolution.
Move we adopt resolution 23-13 pending price discussion.
Oh, I was very.
So we had to make a motion to take it off the table. Take it from the table. Once that was done, that became an active resolution. Now we needed a motion for an active resolution before we go into discussion. So it was a motion for adopting, you said?
Removing from the table.
Yep.
Oh, I don't want to agree with that.
Well, we have a motion. Have we got a second for
Well,
that?
you can discuss it.
Oh, okay.
Well, adoption would be pending what we decide to fill in that blank. Or disposition, does that make more sense? Discussion, open discussion on
There.
resolution 2313.
So you want to amend your motion? Can you, for the record, could can we clean it up for the...
All right, a motion we open resolution 2313 for discussion.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Thank you very much. So now we have resolution 2313, which was a table item from last meeting on the 7th. I'm sorry, from previous meeting in February. And now that is an active resolution. Any discussion? Well, we'll follow the proper process. Anyone in the audience have any comments or questions about resolution 2313? Yes, Michael. For the record, we know who you are. Introduce your name and where you're from, please.
I just don't want to.
You know the process, Mike. I'm sorry.
Mike Gray, Pittsfield. First of all, I won't take a lot of time, but I'd like to speak briefly to this resolution. But I want to go back a little bit, back to August, September timeframe when Peak was charged with bringing a buyer to the council for the theater. We reviewed it, we looked at it, we determined that, number one, there was a skill set there that could turn this thing back into a viable theater entertainment center, and they had the financial stability to make it happen. Unfortunately, the council had different ideas and it never got to the public hearing. What I would suggest you do is, number one, absolutely list this thing back with the broker, but I would charge the mayor, the town manager, and even Aaron Bolster to perhaps look back, and maybe the book isn't totally closed on the project in Pittsfield for this theater. The person who really wants this as a passion project, and if you want to get some information to yourself, go look up the definition of a passion project. And it's simply to improve the community, but to also improve the individual himself, herself. Nobody's ever going to make any money on that theater. There's only one viable person or company that could turn this thing into what it needs to be turned into. He's sitting right beside me tonight. He's probably not going to shoot his mouth off, but I got to tell you, the way he was treated the last time better not happen again this time, because this is going to, and maybe the book is not closed on this project. So I would suggest that perhaps somebody get back in touch with Hammer Down Inc. and see what could happen. Maybe not, who knows? But if we don't do something down on Main Street, we're going to be looking at several vacant buildings and nobody's going to want to come to this town. So Peak will be having some meetings in the future, and we're going to try to come up with some viable ideas, probably try to engage some professional help in pushing the economic development forward. So I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Michael. Anyone else in the audience?
I guess I could stand. I'm Mike Smith. I am the majority owner of Hammer Down. I was approached back in the summer. Scott is my assistant. Many times that we were approached about doing something. 25 years ago, I looked at the theater, and then 15 years ago, we made a bid on it that never went anywhere. I've always liked movies. I was in the video business before anyone else. I ran all the video for Hannaford Corporation. So that was my passion. And I thought, 15 years ago, that if it was to be converted to some sort of entertainment, meaning a restaurant and the movie and everything, and more showings, and out of the government's hand, basically. I don't think government should be involved in business, per se. I think business should be run by business. I understand why the town ended up with it and everything associated. I have no problems with that. The problem is that it was always taking money from the town. You can run it like you want the theater if that's what you want, but if you don't want the theater, like the library, that's a different beast. But if it's to be a business, it needs to be run like a business and managed like a business. And during that time, especially now during the pandemic, the whole movie theater business has totally changed. People don't go to the movies. They can stream pretty much anything. You can buy an 80-inch TV for $2,000. So you can't just rely on movies. And one of the reasons we looked at it was because of Mike and Peg, who was on the theater for a long time, and the fact that I had lived in Kansas City, and two of my principals who helped run one of my companies, they live there, and they see in Kansas City what some of these single-screen theaters have done, and how they made them into viable businesses without relying on movies. It's also not charging $20 for popcorn or some stupid thing like that, but it's still some way to do it. Now, can Pittsfield be profitable? Probably not. Could it be break even? Hopefully. But the first thing that we presented to PAC was, even though I didn't grow up here, I grew up on the coast, okay? But my kids went to school here, I lived here for a long time. I left, made my money somewhere else, and came back. And one of the things I would like to see is we gave to PEC a presentation of a town called Humboldt, Kansas, 60 miles away from Kansas City in a rural area that had only one employer, B&W Trail Hitches. That was it, in a town that had gone down over the years. Nothing going forward. And what happened was, you got one or two people together to start on one project in their downtown and started building one thing at a time. And that's important. And our thought was, let's start here with the movie theater and then see if we can get other people to do other things. As I stand here right now, and you guys, most of you have grown up here and all that, but as I stand here right now, the old Mill Pond thing sits empty and looks like crap. The Quonset hut, the old dealership, the place that was the pharmacy for a while, the one that was the retention center, all within striking distance of where we are. You got to start somewhere with the town. And our thought was, let us start with the movie theater, okay? It's not going to be as great as the one in Dover, where they spent $6 million, but it can start somewhere. And we thought for about $500,000 we could at least get it cleaned up, operational, and done differently. And we used that Humboldt, Kansas as that same idea. They had the same things. We had one big employer, which was Chimbo, and then we got Puritan. So that gives us an advantage. And our location centrally in the state of Maine gives Pittsfield an advantage. I don't mean to harp on this, guys, and I really apologize. So I wasn't here during the meeting that took place. I was at my house in Florida and I was watching on TV. It's been basically a project of Scott, my assistant, to try and put something together. He knew I loved the movie theater. He knew I loved movies. He thought, Mike, why don't you do this? And I said, I was really gun shy. And then that night, I was extremely upset after it. And they had been told to leave afterwards. If the council decided not to give it to the people to at least listen to the offer, then we weren't interested. No one ever came to me. I know during that meeting, they said, well, there's no business plan or nothing like that. No one ever approached me. No one ever asked for that, anything. I put lots of money into putting a presentation together to have it shot down by the councilors, assuming that they had seen everything. And I don't think they had. But the whole thing is, councilors, you guys all have jobs usually. You have things to do. You can't move forward projects. You have other things to do. You do the best you can to manage and run the town. I understand that. We were willing to do something to start moving forward. And I've talked to several people since then, and they've come to Scott multiple times with that. I've said, no, I'm not interested, no, I'm not interested. But I think it can be a viable thing. But I shouldn't be the only one coming here. I didn't grow up here. And one of the things that I said, let's get 40 people, 40 families to put $25,000 in each to start some sort of fund to start acquiring or doing things from the movie theater to these other buildings. Or I've got even other ideas, but my plan for the movie theater was to make it a restaurant and a movie theater and an entertainment center and a place that the town could still show plays and stuff like that. I've lost interest only because I don't want to fight. I don't want to fight with you guys or the town or anything. But I think, it can happen. This town can be improved. Peter Viggia was in here with all the dilapidated properties in town, 2 months before, and that's what kind of invigorated me. I said, well, geez, if he's showing that, maybe we can all get together, and I'll start with the movie theater. I knew I would lose money, but at that point, I said, I know what it looks like, I know what we can do with it, and I know it can probably go. But it was the first point in the town to go and say, okay, we'll start with here, and then let's get other people together, and let's start fixing up these properties, and let's start get some things done. There'll never be $1 million properties. You'll never be the volume of Newport, but we don't need to be that. We just need to be successful well enough for people to make a living and make the town look good. That's all. That was what I was trying to do. So that whole presentation about Humboldt and the movie theater and all that is available. You can get it from me. You can get it from, I think Mike has a copy or something, and you guys can read it yourself. I'm not saying I'm in or I'm out. I'm just saying my whole thing is let's start somewhere. Quit saying everything's horrible or whatever. We can fix this up. I'm not even from here, folks. I just lived here for 10 years and came back, and it can be done. They won't be $1 million makers. They won't be. But you got to start somewhere. And it's sad to sit here and look at where we are. From the garage across the street, the Universalist Church is having a hard time right now, and all these buildings I mentioned. They can be done. Whether it's done through eminent domain, or it's done through purchasing, or revolving fund that we put together, as whether it's citizens or nonprofit or whatever. And it was just easiest for me to attack the movie theater first because I knew what I could do with it. That was all. But that was only one part of what. Now I know you guys probably understand. My wife owns Graham's Farm Garden Cannabis store. So, and one of the things when they came back to me with some of the stipulations for us making our offer was you can't do cannabis. We're not going to put cannabis in downtown Pittsfield. One, Pittsfield doesn't authorize it. Two, it's a crappy location to run a retail business. I mean, that's not. I own real estate, not the cannabis stuff. It just happens to be that some of the real estate I own is rented to cannabis stores. That's it. Whether you like it or not, I'm in the real estate business. I wasn't before. I left. I was broke. I made some money. I came back and I made an offer. That's where I'm at. I will write the first check for $25,000. You get 39 other people, and we can put together a fund. Write it down. It's not too many people. I'm just saying. I'm sorry to drag on. So, anyways, just so you know who I am, I'm not just a nameless, faceless person. That's me. So.
All right, thank you, Mike. Anyone else in the audience wish to
Not
speak?
gonna be 1,000.
At 24 too.
All right, I will close to public input. I will look to the council. Any questions or comments, council? Yes, Mr. Jester.
Yeah, I want to thank Mr. Smith for coming in tonight and being willing to talk to us. I appreciate that. I'm sorry I wasn't here for the last meeting. I was out ill, unfortunately, watching from home. I want to say, having conversations with my fellow council members afterwards and trying to figure out kind of what happened, I think a point that you made a moment ago kind of hit home with me, that unfortunately you were done a disservice by not being prepped properly for what this council would ask for or hope for in that situation. And, that's some of my concern in what we're looking at with this resolution, right? We're looking at, in this resolution, offering to lower the price. Well, for me,
No, we're looking at the list with a real estate
List
agent.
the price.
That's all we're talking about.
no, there's a price line here that's asked
We're
for
looking
and
at the
all.
list with a real estate agent.
Okay, so, and consider the selling price, let's put it that way.
I can agree with that.
Okay, so I find that to be difficult for me because all that price has done is tumbled down. Now, I understand that it's a distressed area, that we've had a hard time getting offers on this building and what have you. At the same time, it bothers me that you went into that much effort and that the organization that night that was supposed to offer up your best interest let you down. And I appreciate the fact that you were willing to come back in and talk to us about that, because I would have loved to have heard these business plans, because that's fantastic, kind of that picture that you just painted quickly, right, about alternate ideas while still keeping the theme, right? And I get it, and it's broad brush. I would have loved to have seen that detail that you had. And, again, I really feel saddened that we weren't able to see that and hear that opportunity, because as a person with young children, young child in this town, and I'm going to keep my family here because this is an awesome town, I would have loved to have seen something like that come to fruition. I know it hasn't been completely destroyed yet, but that would have been amazing. So I look forward to somehow seeing that and at least understanding the full scope of what you kind of had as a vision. But again, thank you for coming in and talking about that.
Can I do a rebuttal just real quick?
Very briefly.
Yeah.
Very briefly.
So, basically, there wasn't a full-blown business plan, it was
I got
just
you.
an outline, just so you know, because when I worked with Peck, it was just going through ideas. And so the offer was made on the thought, it wasn't trying to lowball the town, on just the thought of what the town would take, because we knew we were gonna have to immediately put, $250,000. And that was basically it, so that's why.
Yeah.
I just want you to understand, there was no business plan, and there was no intention. To me, it was a piece of real estate that I was willing to invest in and make it what I thought could work.
Sure, and there's a difference between having a business plan and being able to be brought along for a ride with a vision, right? So if you're painting the picture and giving us a vision of what you're thinking, right, and giving us that broad brush, we would have had a very good opportunity to say, hey, this is something that we'd like to see further. Would he be willing to come in and present that business plan at the next meeting, right? So I feel like that's kind of where the disservice was that was not presented in your favor properly, and that's not a knock. On the price, not a knock on you, on the price point, there's a difference between looking at lowering our listing price potentially or changing our listing price and considering a lower offer. As any reasonable seller, right, and as the town, we're the seller, we'd be willing to listen to any reasonable offer or even otherwise, right? If we know what we have for a liability sitting on our hands, that's not a problem. It was the fact that, unfortunately, in your conversations with Peak and others, they did not prep you for what we were going to ask for. And unfortunately, that's kind of where that lands. And tonight to kind of be scolded a little bit by Peak on that, I'll be honest with you, kind of bothered me. And as a council member, I take umbrage of that a little bit, because we do nothing but try to benefit this town in every decision that we make. And we would love to have people like you invest in our town.
Pete wasn't
Absolutely.
scolding you, Ron.
All right. No, I can't.
Okay.
I'm not let this guy out of control. I'm sorry, Mike. I'm sorry, I can't do that. So, before I open to other councils, I just want to bring up something. The reason why I requested to have this table to this meeting, because I had a discussion with a representative of some investors who wanted to consider the theater, but not only the theater, but I'm sure everyone's aware now, Rennie's is moving out of their building, moving up the old Walgreens building. So I have information that will include an investment of properties from Rennie's to almost the corner, including the theater. So we're not talking just about the theater. So there's another entity in play. There's no other details I can provide. This entity is not ready to present some kind of plan, but I would recommend before we move to the Realtor, either vote this down or remove the motion and move to have it tabled at least for 60 days, maybe the second meeting in May, to allow some details to be worked out and some matters to be dealt with, and other factors to get into play here. So before we have discussions elsewhere, and I appreciate your time, gentlemen, but this is a wider open discussion than talking about what happened last fall. Because I guess the realization now that I want to share with everyone is not just the theater we're talking about, it's a theater with the potential for several other buildings. We're talking probably a third to half of Main Street in investment.
Right. Mike, can I add to that there would bring me no more happiness than to have multiple offers or ideas for the town to consider as well, right?
No,
That would be an absolutely excellent thing, and if you have that plan put together, that'd be something that, I think that...
As would I, but I need to remake this point.
Understood, nothing...
We're not talking about just the theater.
Right.
We are on this, but there's a potential for the theater as a larger package.
Understood, but I'm just saying, I don't want to say that discourage any potential others, right?
Well, if we remove the theater from that block, we would.
Right. Understood.
Okay.
Understood.
I understand your point. I appreciate sharing.
Yeah. No, I just don't want to preclude anybody or anyone's ideas.
So, not as mayor, but as a council, I would recommend that if we could withdraw the motion and remove to table, or keep the motion in play and vote it down so we can have that opportunity for that investor to come forward, because it's a significant plan. And honestly, I can't share more than that for various reasons. Heather, please.
I would ask that we continue the discussion on the resolution that we have before us before we vote to table it or anything.
Okay, very well. Any councils, anything else?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm trying to not get my hackles up because I have to disagree with how Ron is interpreting what happened. Because I sat in that meeting, and a lot of the things and a lot of the points that Mr. Smith just brought up were brought up in that meeting. The vision that they had for the building, all of those things were presented at that meeting. And the council had the opportunity to set that to public hearing. The council asked for additional information. Scott said, yes, we'll be able to provide it. And then it was still not voted forward to a public hearing. And at that point, that would have been when the fuller discussion would have happened. So I take umbrage at the fact that, Craig is saying that Peak didn't represent Mr. Smith's interest in Hammerdown's offer. I think it was well represented, and that the council chose not to move forward with that. And I don't want that pushed off onto another entity. The council was responsible for that decision wholly. Whether they felt they needed more information or not, they asked for it and it was offered, and they still voted it down. So I don't want to kind of rewrite things and keep going over it, but I have a different recollection of what happened that evening. But as far as tonight, the only resolution we have before us is whether we're going to relist this building. This has been tabled numerous times. It's
Once.
a building.
It's been tabled once. Once.
It's been tabled.
Once.
All right, it's been tabled once. And we're talking about tabling the second time, right?
Or voting down.
Or voting down, which basically tables it. At some point, whether you're talking about an investor that might sit before us or an investor that might come down the road, we have to sell the building, and we need to be listing it to a realtor to do that. This council should not be doing a private sale with public property. It should be done through a realtor who acts as our legal representative in that transfer. And I am in favor of voting on this tonight with, we can keep the offering price where it is now. As Craig said, we always have the opportunity, like anything else, we can always accept less. If you want to keep it where it is and not change it, fine. It's not going to generate any additional interest, which is the purpose. We voted, the council has voted in the past that the building is to be sold. And that is our duty to carry through on that. It's in resolutions that this building is to be sold, that the council is not putting more money into this beyond basic maintenance, which is costing us more and more every year. And the building is suffering because of that by not being used. So I strongly endorse selling this building, and the first step to that would be actually relisting it with the realtor. And I hope that it brings on a lot of offers, whether that is Hammer Down circling back and coming back and taking another look at it, or another entity that may or may not come along. We've heard multiple times, and I will use multiple or numerous, wherever you want a characteristic, multiple times we've heard about entities that are coming with things and that things are happening, and then nothing has materialized.
You've heard it
So-
once, and that was at the last meeting.
No, because that was part of that previous meeting in September. Oh, well, maybe we'll have a 501c3 take it over. And then that's been floating around for years. And then Ann comes and says our 501c3 is going, but that 501c3 has no assets to it and does not have the capability or the organization to do anything with that building. So for me, that's a non-starter of moving that building into a nonprofit because of that. There's no funding there in order to do that. I would like to see this item put to bed. I would like to see it put in the hand of somebody that's going to develop it and improve our downtown, because right now that building is an eyesore. And when we're talking about all these dilapidated buildings around town owned by private people, we need to kind of look in our own backyard and say, what about the theater building? And I don't think that we're doing a service to the town of Pittsfield by hanging on to this, waiting to see what if is going to be coming. We need to sell the building, we need to not be responsible for it, and we need to give somebody an opportunity to start that downtown revitalization that we so desperately all want to see. And that's all I'm going to say about it.
Thank you. Anything else, council? Jason, you have your hand up?
I did.
Something you want to bring up? No? Brent?
The thing I'd say is somewhat between Heather and you, both views there, is my question would be, what does it hurt if we listed it with a realtor? And then, like she said, either way it's going to be sold. So whether your developer comes in and buys it up or somebody else buys it up, at least you got it listed to go someplace. And then, like you said, even if you list it right now, it ain't like somebody's going to snatch it up tomorrow. And then we still have the option of saying, no, we're going to hold off, or we appreciate your offer, but we're still going to stall a little bit or something. At least you can have two avenues going at the same time. If this one comes through, yours comes through, we go that way. If not, we got the other one going too. That's the only thing I'd say. At least you don't wait and have to. If yours doesn't come through, we're going to still start at ground zero again.
Well, you know, may I respond?
Yeah.
So going from selling and developing a third to half of Main Street as compared to one building,
Right.
to me it's a no-brainer. And if it's a simple thing of tabling, just give it another 2 months. And after 2 months, if there's nothing that's presented to the council, then we'll list it. I mean, to spend almost 3.5 years, what's another 60 days? That's all I'm asking.
Yeah.
So that's why I would request, as a counselor, being privy to the information that was offered to me, is to either rescind the motion and move to table, or the motion is to vote on this. What I would say, vote it down so that we're not obligated to list it. We'll have the time to allow this other developer to come front. That would be my thoughts. I appreciate your input. Anyone else? Craig?
Yeah, quick question. How long has it been listed with Allied Realty? How long had it been listed with them?
Couple of years, year and a half?
2 years.
And how many offers were brought forward in that 2 years?
One.
This one?
Yep.
Thank you.
There were other visits, but it did not result in a written offer. There
Sure.
were verbal offers. We said put it in writing.
Okay.
Anything else, Council?
Yes.
Yes.
I guess, I mean, if we're gonna ask, Heather and Aaron, who are the realtors on this, to do the work, put in the work, but then we're really not sure, we'd like to hear these people, the development of the downtown, if there's multiple buildings that can be developed or whatnot. Like, why would we have them do the work just to remove it and go in a different avenue? Like, it doesn't hurt to wait 60 days or 90 days. We got the PPI meeting on the 30th of March. That group is 4 of us plus 4 other people. That's going to that group's going to obviously make a lot of decisions on how the downtown's going to look. Why don't we just let that group decide what we're doing with either that whole downtown, the theater, any of that stuff? Like,
That's not the function of
well,
that committee at all.
it's to develop the downtown. It's that project which is encompassing.
We can
the
certainly
downtown.
encourage ideas and their input, because it may
Correct.
segue well or not
And-
well with what we come up with.
And we know that an entity wants to meet with the council on this topic, so, and they said as soon as we can meet, so, like, why, it doesn't hurt to just wait. Like, it's not costing us astronomical money right now.
Yes?
No, it's not. It's not. It's just not. And in a month,
Yeah.
there's going to be no snow, and you're not going to have the leaking roof and whatnot. It's just not that critical. Like, there's so many other things in town that we can, like, worry about that are costing us money than this particular thing. So, and I would agree with Craig. Like, there wasn't a business plan presented to us. If there was anybody worth their salt would have requested a real business plan and presented it in a professional manner, and that didn't happen. And also to say that Ann and the 501c3 is incapable or they have no ability to do it, you have no idea. Like, that's just like an assumption. You don't know what they're doing behind the scenes right now. And I'm not talking about last time. She was here last 2 weeks ago. That's great, but I'm saying it's inappropriate for you to put down a 501c3 when you don't really know what's going on behind the scenes.
I met with Ann and I talked with her.
Okay. I think it's inappropriate the way you kind of shot down how they were presenting
I was
it.
giving my perspective on it. I thought that's what we were doing. Ron
Okay.
gave his perspective.
Well, my
I
perspective
gave mine.
is, but that's
What have
that's
you
not.
done? What have you
Hey,
done?
hold on. That's not the resolution.
We're not going to have that, no.
That's not what
I've
that is.
closed the
That's fine.
audience input.
That's fine.
And that's my point.
I've closed the audience input, I'm sorry. We need to keep control of this meeting. It's not going to be a free for all. I won't allow that.
It's not against you. It was against the other stuff that.
To say that you asked for a business plan and looking at me, Jason.
No, I'm saying-
You said,
I'm
never
saying-
mind. I'm
I'm
sorry,
saying-
I apologize. I'm saying, I apologize.
Let's not address it directly.
You can talk to me
make
off-
your point,
off
but
record.
please not address directly.
Okay.
You understand, okay?
I'm just okay. Then
Nope.
I have a bigger issue with the peak representation of it than anything else.
And that could be another topic for another time.
And that was my point as well. I'll second that.
And that could be another topic for another time. I understand. Anything else, Council? Just a second, Captain. Yes, Captain, please.
Yes, for the record, there is a significant plan that is in progress, which we have just learned about, that the individual that is working on it has asked for the item to be tabled in additional time. I don't know what the amount of additional time is, but there is a significant project that is underway, which we've just learned about. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for sharing that. That kind of segues into what I was presenting. Anything else, Council? Very well. Since we're ready to vote on the motion for Resolution 2313, all those in favor, please say aye.
Oh, aye.
All those opposed, nay. council. Councilor Hall,
Nay.
Councilor Saucier,
Nay.
Councilor Donahue,
Aye.
Councilor Jester,
Nay.
Councilor Frost.
I'll go nay, I guess.
I'm sorry?
I'll go nay.
Nay. Councilor Margolski,
Nay.
and I shall vote nay. So 6-1. That resolution has been voted down. Let's move on, please, to new business number 7, ordinance 23-02. Please, Catherine.
Ordinance 23-2, set to public hearing March 21st, 2023. The town of Pittsfield hereby ordains to repeal Chapter 2 Administrative Code, Division 1, Article 1, Section 110, Remote Participation Procedures.
I'll look for a motion of council, please.
I move we open discussion on ordinance 2302.
Well, actually, the motion should be set to public hearing.
Oh, excuse me. Motion to move this to public hearing.
Second.
Motion and seconded. Thank you, gentlemen. So give you as much feedback, background as I dare. The last meeting we had very inappropriate behavior on the screen. And the idea behind having this Zoom was during the pandemic when no one could attend. We no longer have those restrictions. I personally no longer see the need of Zoom, especially with what happened last meeting. We had 2 guests from Trio, and unfortunately they seemed to be good-natured about it, and I'm just very glad that you and your young family weren't here. It was very inappropriate. So to avoid that, part of the reason why we're not on video this evening, to avoid that, I'd like to just get rid of it completely. You know, there might be an instance for emergency or, you know, a council needs to be in there, or counselors or something like that, but where it was put in by ordinance before, that's why I'd like to set the public hearing. So that's the background with that. Any input from the audience? Very well, I'll close public input. Council, any comments on that before we move?
I got comments.
Yes.
So, I understand what happened the last meeting, and I saw it, and I wish I could unsee it, but I can't, so I'm stuck with it forever. I'm really happy that the kids weren't here, and they didn't see it, because they would also be stuck with that same thing. All I would say is, I really like having the ability to include everyone, right? People that might not have transportation to get here, might be ill, and they want to be from their, participate from their house. Trust me, I want to be here every meeting. Like, I want to be in person, and I believe that you're stronger in person, but if you can't, like, that's the next best thing. I guess I want to set this to public hearing, but I think at the end of the day, I would like to explore other avenues that we can do something like Zoom, but maybe on a safer platform. Is there a way we can roll out, an email subscription that maybe they get the password the day of the meeting, or is there a different way to roll this information out so it's not just a broad, put it online where anyone can get the information to the meeting? I think it's important that the town citizens have the ability to attend, but I also think that we could probably safeguard ourselves a little bit just by our procedures. That's just
At some point, Heather.
I completely agree with what Eric said. I think that it's an important way to be able to involve everyone. I know personally, several counselors have been ill and have been able to participate in meetings from home. Counselors have had to leave because of childcare obligations and been able to continue participating when they got home. Personally, I ran a meeting from Ireland 2 years ago because I was on vacation and I was still able to participate and actively run the meeting as mayor. So it gives us a lot of flexibility. It reaches many more people, and part of the reason that you do it is so that everybody has access to it. If you have the technology, you can have it, on your phone. You can participate in your car. You can do it in your office. There are controls which we're exercising tonight. Catherine, your camera could be on because it's just showing what's happening in the room here.
Correct.
So anybody else that was logged in other than Mike and I could see what's going on in the room, so it's not just voices. which is helpful. But there are controls that we can have, protocols within our Zoom meetings, so that when other people are running the meetings, they know, like, you can have audio-only participation, and you can also have it so that when people log in, it's automatic that their video and their audio is off, and they have to be called on and acknowledged in order to contribute to the conversation. So I feel like it's an unfortunate event that happened. It's not unusual, though. A lot of communities and businesses have had that happen because of this type of system, and everybody's kind of worked their way through it. And I think throwing the baby out with the bathwater is a disservice to our community, and it also doesn't allow people to fully participate in their government. So I'm in favor of keeping it. I don't think we need a public hearing for it. I'll vote for it because I would like to hear other people's opinions on it, but I would personally think it's really important to keep this because it gives us the flexibility. None of us would have thought years ago that we had a pandemic coming and this is what it was going to come to. We started with the town hall streams as a way to be able to reach more people, but it's a passive observation tool to give information to people. You can't participate through town hall streams. And the audio through town hall streams is terrible, but the audio through the video of the Zoom is really good. So just based on those things, I would be in favor of keeping it in order to be able to have that flexibility, because we don't know what's going to happen in the future. And this gives us the greatest number of ways that we can operate the town government and have everyone participate, councilors and the public alike.
Thank you. Yes, Jason.
Yeah, so it sounds like we've made changes to the settings within Zoom since last meeting.
Well, we can, apparently we can control the
Okay.
video.
So that's huge. That's
And
like
I don't know if Zoom, as you had mentioned, Heather, I don't know if Zoom has capability, raise your hand and then we allow you to speak instead of
Yes.
somebody going in on there.
Yeah.
Right.
It's gonna take a little bit of control on our part.
Everybody can be muted when they come in, and you're not a participant, you're an observer, and you only get to, there's a way that you can have panelists. So if you had a counselor at home, you could have it so that they had an open channel to participate and make them a panelist in the meeting, so that they wouldn't have that restriction. They could speak freely when they're called on. But then other people would just be, a lot of times you see it when somebody's just making a presentation. Like the state will have things like that, or economic development groups that have 75 or 100 people on a call. They'll have a meeting and it will be, everybody else is just watching, and then you raise your hand at the end, or you raise your hand during discussion times, and you get called on and they acknowledge you and open your channel so that you can participate, either with or without your video, but it depends on bandwidth a lot of times.
So a lot of good information that we can bring up at the next meeting. Yes, Captain?
Yes, I note that these are all good options. Some of them will not meet the state law requirement for the councilors to be able to vote, but there are a variety of options that you can participate in the back door of the Zoom that will regulate items much better. We're supposed to have the video and everything, but we can make changes so we don't have it in the ordinance later on.
So perhaps if
I
it's
think
not too overwhelming for you or anyone else, if we can find out that kind of information, so when we do have the public hearing, we can answer questions on the fly.
I think
Yeah.
we do that.
And if it does pass the affirmative, which I believe it should and probably will, we can implement it fairly quickly.
Yes.
Catherine, is it just the counselors that in order for them to
vote.
participate and vote on record, they need to have their video on? I think they're the only ones that have to be on
That's
video.
correct. The public can be just as the telephone call or just their names.
So that's
Without
totally
video.
doable, just within the
It should be,
controls
yeah.
in hosting,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I would think the state would have maybe had something set up that would put our settings the way it needs to be, so that we
I know,
don't, so we can't get hacked or we don't get hacked.
That's a
They
simple,
can they can do a Zoom.
no,
So
that's
they have Zoom settings.
that's just a spam filter. That had nothing to do with video. That's not like somebody was live.
Well, yeah.
That's a spam, right? So it's a simple security right there, third icon over from the left. You go in there and you can set your spam security settings, and that won't happen. and you can still have your video, you can still have your audio. You can require that anyone that before they present or whatever is allowed or acknowledged, which we do already. And that's just a simple standard security setting.
Well, this is a good opportunity to look at the different options that are available and see how we'd like to make changes.
Yep, very good.
I think it's just an option of like live and learn. You know, when you know better, you do better. You know, we know that it's an issue now, so we can investigate this. It hasn't been an issue before. You know, you have an issue, you find ways to deal with it, and then you make decisions on how to deal with it. So.
Anything else, council?
Do we have to set this to public hearing?
There was an ordinance before, and we probably should.
If you wanted to rescind it, you would set it to public hearing. If you wanted to keep it, it doesn't make sense to set it to a public hearing.
Well, I think most of us want to keep Zoom, so what do we?
Well, we can vote it down and not put a public hearing,
Well, that's what I
and
meant.
keep Zoom in place, but with, certain caveats. Let's make sure we check the filters. I mean, it'd be
Right.
nothing, no different than at the end of the meeting, by the way, Catherine, can you look into this and see what we can do better on this? It doesn't really need public input, so if you want to not go to public hearing, if we don't go to public hearing, that will keep Zoom in place,
Do we have
because we will not have a vote on it. I'm
Do
sorry?
we have IT consulting, someone that we could contact before our next meeting that could assist with the settings?
Yes, they
Some-
did assist us with the settings, but we can contact them again.
Yeah, logically should be able to.
Yes,
do something.
they're the ones that
Yeah.
help the staff set this up.
Right. Okay.
So it sounds like
I want to keep Zoom, so I'd be voting it down.
Okay, all right. Anything else, council? Heather, you had something else? I'm sorry.
no, I was just
got
saying it
talked
sounds like Catherine's already kind of investigated and fixed
Yeah.
the settings and everything, so
Yeah.
it shouldn't be an issue.
over. Anything else, council? All right, very well. Hearing none, it's vote. All those in favor of ordinance 23-02, set public hearing, please signify by saying aye. All those opposed, nay. Nay. Nays have it. That will not be set to public hearing, and Zoom shall stay. Thank you very much for your input, council. That was very excellent. Let's move on to resolution 23-22, please, Catherine.
Resolution 23-22, resolved that the town council reallocate funding of up to $9,000 originally approved for celebration items from the funding available in the special revenue bicentennial account toward the cost of an electronic display sign for town-related announcements.
Looking for a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to have this resolution tabled for a while, if we could. We're looking at alternatives as far as placement with respect to what kind of sign we need with
Okay.
it, and also.
I'm gonna start to rate that, Doc. If you want to make a motion for table, I can look at second, then we can get into
I make a
details.
motion to table this.
Second.
moving in second. Okay, Doc. I'll give the floor to you.
Okay.
My apologies for cutting.
No
you.
problem, no problem. I think the concept is great, and I think we need this. However, I've done some investigating as well as heard gotten some input, and there are signs that, looking at the type of sign we need, where the placement would be, et cetera, one-sided, two-sided, as well as dealing with input from DOT, as well as setbacks, et cetera, that need to be investigated before we decide on what we need, how much it's going to cost, and where the funding should come from. So I'd like this table.
Okay, very well.
Yeah.
Anything else, council? Very well. Okay, so the motion is to table. Do you want to give a time frame?
60 days?
You tell me.
60 days.
There you go. So that would be 60 days, going to be
May 7th.
first meeting in May 9th. Would that be sufficient time?
So it'd be second, right?
No, I'm sorry, May 2nd, you're right, the first Tuesday.
Yeah, that was
I was only 7 days off.
I was like,
I would have been,
hold on, there's more
I
than
would have
seven there.
been the only one at that meeting.
It was unanimous then.
And then there probably will be problems with Zoom.
You could have my seat at the finance committee meeting.
Thank you. So you want to stipulate the May 2nd, or?
Sure.
Okay, very well. So, the motion is for tabling, resolution 23-22 till May 2nd, further discussion? Very well, all those in favor of tabling, till the May 2nd meeting, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. Ayes have it, we shall table resolution 23-22 until May 2nd. Thank you, Doc. Catherine, let's move on to resolution 23-23, please.
Resolution 23-23, resolved that the town council appoint members to fill the vacancies on the various town boards and committees.
I look for a motion from the council, please. Move to discuss.
Move to discuss resolution 23-23.
Second.
Move to second, thank you very much. So you have in your paperwork, last couple sheets, we have two people that are willing to serve on boards. For cemetery trustees, Elizabeth Bridger. She's new, and I recognize that address. She's the lady that bought my house. And for library trustees, Desiree Jester, which is her second term, and that name sounds vaguely familiar. But I have to. So any discussion, any question, comments, audience? Very well. I'll close the audience input. Council, any questions or comments? All right, very well. I hear none, so I sense we're ready to vote. All those in favor of resolution 23-23 with the two names listed, please signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Those people have been appointed. Thank you very much. Council?
I think you probably have to put me down as no vote on that, right?
Recuse.
No, it's fine.
No, you can vote.
Okay, then I.
No,
Okay. I wasn't sure.
Financial, it's only financials.
I wasn't sure, so I wanted to make sure before I don't hurt me with a good time kicking.
I think we have other problems in chastising you. And if that becomes one of our problems, we got problems. Just saying.
Oh, all our other problems are fixed.
Oh, big deal in comparison.
That's right.
All right, very well. Thank you, council. Thank you, audience. Let's move on to, if I flip my page here, discussion items. There are none, so we shall close the meeting for now for reports, and I will look to anyone in the council who wishes to speak on pretty much any topic. Any questions or comments? Anyone in the audience? No?
Me?
Yes.
No.
Jan?
This is going to sound like a smart remark, but I think after listening to some of the discussion today and being around as old as I am, there's a sign that comes into town that says, "It's still," and I believe back around the time of the bicentennial, there was a contest. The contest was to come up with a saying or slogan for the community. And there was only one person that submitted an entry for that. And it happened to be mine. And that statement is, Pittsfield, a good place to call home. And I would hope that as we think about today, tomorrow, and the discussion and so forth, that we kind of keep that in mind, that we want it to be a good place to call home. And these are some, not just on the local level, but in life in general. We're going through some different times. And, we need a place where we can come home, feel comfortable, feel that we're going to be listened to, feel that we're going to be heard. We don't have to agree all the time, but we need to have ways to come
common ground so we can listen to each other and hear other people's thoughts and opinions. So I want to add a word to that statement. Pittsfield, a good place to call home. And I want to add the word maybe. And have it reevaluated maybe in 5 years to see if we did that. If 5 years from now it is a good place to come home, to call home. Sorry, Mike.
No, you're not. No, you're not.
I mean, and there's a chance for some real some positive things to happen. This is not going to be the town that existed. I mean, somebody made this statement earlier about, I rode by the Puritan parking lots today, and they were empty. And this is not going to be an industrial community. It may have been back many years ago when we made shoes and some other things, but this is not going to be an industrial community. But it is going to be a place where people can find a home, live, have activities for kids, have activities for families, and have activities for old people like you and me, Mike. And get out and
I feel so inclusive, thank you.
and do things. And it's been interesting the last couple of weeks because, as far as I know, we are going to have the summer concert series this year. We have a great lineup for groups coming to town. But what that does is that gets me in. I've been in almost every business in this town in the last 3 weeks. And some of the comments that the business owners are sharing are really interesting. And I would encourage some of you on the council to get out and start talking to some of these people because they have some good ideas, they have some bad ideas, and they're looking for ideas. And that's kind of what it's all about. And the other thing too is I was going to try to have a bus outside and ask you to put a temporary hold on the meeting and take a ride through town. For the council just to kind of see some certain things, but I wasn't able to get a bus tonight, so
It's so disappointing.
I know. But, it has the potential, still has the potential. We've got a lot to offer. But there need to be, I think we need to take you guys, the town, we need to take a look at the priorities. And we need time to reestablish some of those. And, I'll just leave it at that.
Thank you, Jimmy. Anyone else in the audience wish to speak? Yes, Mike, please.
I don't, no disrespect to you, Jason, I apologize for that. No problem. I would love whoever this investor group. I don't personally care to do the theater any longer, just so you know, but I do care that the town does something. When I found out Rennie's was going, I was like, on top of Dwayne's building like that. I would love to see someone do it. Just someone take the first step. That's all it takes. And I'm willing to help, do whatever. But passion for movies, yes. But more so, I would like to see the town improve. That's all. I've talked to Ian Matthews. I made it clear to you that I wasn't moving forward. I came out of respect for Mike. But basically, I would love to see this project if it fruition. 2 months from now, if it doesn't go, then we'll address it differently. So that's all.
All right, thank you, Michael. Maybe we could, or somebody could call upon you. Your enthusiasm is contagious, so thank you very much for speaking and showing up. Anyone else in the audience? Very well, I shall close the audience participation. I shall start with council. I'll start with Councilor Jessica.
Oh, boy. Quick, thank you to Mr. Smith for coming in, being willing to come in and talk to us again, and share kind of the behind-the-scenes piece that we never really got an understanding of. That was never really, transmitted well to us, so I appreciate that. And for Jan for his comments, I understand them. I understand what you're getting at. And, I'm going to be a lifetime Pittsfield resident, good or bad. But hopefully it's good, right? And it's time that we continue to put our money where our mouth is and do the things we say we want to do. The biggest thing for me tonight, I guess, I want to thank Chief Morris. This is an amazing update on some good stuff happening locally, right? The fentanyl epidemic, I guess, is what we'll call it, right? That's the only way to address it. Is one of the scariest things in the world. When I have my wife and kid talking about going to Narcan classes so that they understand how to survive or to save a fellow citizen, that is scary. And to hear that we were able to get a bad actor of this caliber off the street's amazing. But we kind of all thank you, and no offense, I just want to shed some light on your team too. What an amazing team you have, and that you're building. And I just say congratulations and thank you to you all for what you do every day, and thank you for keeping us safe and for making our town what it is. So thank you. That's it for me.
I reiterate, thank you very much. Council Hall, please.
Mixed it up on me.
Well, misdirection. Are you preparing one more?
Yeah.
Professor X.
I want to apologize to you, Mike. I don't mean anything personally. I think we're all passionate about the town and where it's at, where it can go. Maybe we see eye to eye on some things, maybe we don't. Obviously, sometimes my professionalism is not always where it should be, so I apologize for that. But I thank you for coming and speaking on behalf of you and Pete and whatnot. Reiterate what Craig said. Obviously, it's amazing what the police department's doing. I went to Pinnacle Fest for a bit. Police department was up there hanging out for quite a while. So that was good. It's good to see them throughout the community and whatnot. And I think I'm just going to leave it at that. But thank you for.
You want me to circle back?
No, I think I'm good.
Okay, very well. Councilor Frost, please.
What are you doing? I
Not to get on the bandwagon there, but the police department is really impressive for what you've done in just that short time you've been here. You've not just stepped it up, you've leaped up, but 5 steps above what we're used to, we'll say. Very, very impressive. The other impressive is our animal control officer. I haven't personally met him, but last Saturday night, we're watching TV about 8 o'clock at night, and I keep seeing this car coming down the back road there with flashlight, guys getting out, going all around. And this went on for over an hour or more, but he must have made 6 trips, back and forth, back and forth. So finally we figured out it was the animal control officer. He's down there trying to get skunks at night. This went on from about 8 to 9:30 at night.
Now that's dedication.
Yeah, hopefully he doesn't do that on the outskirts of Madawaska. Identify yourself. We'll have another
I haven't met the guy, but he's impressive too.
The chief did give us a heads up on that.
And the only other thing I'd like to say is, Mr. Smith, you ought to probably get on the beat committee and share your ideas and try to get going with them. You make I think you'd be a good contribution. That's all I've got.
All right, thank you, Brent. Council Saucier. You guys see my pattern now.
It took us a minute.
Yeah, I want to thank Mike for coming and talking about his ideas, and I agree with Brad. I mean, people that have the energy and they have ideas and they have vision and all they want is to see this place succeed. I appreciate that a lot. I know we all don't agree all the time, and we never will, right? It's not going to happen. But I think at the end of the day, if we can agree that we want to make this, take this thing from here and bring it to here, obviously Mike wants to do that, and he wants to see that happen in front of him, even if it's not his plan, whether it's someone else's plan, and the town moves forward. I mean, we've got to keep making sure in our heads that that's what the goal is, and it absolutely is. I'll speak for myself, definitely is mine. moving on to the chief, I shared with him before the meeting that he was highlighted on 93.5. I was listening to some country cruising around, and they had a poem for him, and I really wish I had videotaped it, but I was driving at the time. And I was talking about, he got a shout out on the radio about his ability to attract talent. And that doesn't speak volumes just for him, it does for the department too. Right? I mean, the people that he brings here are quality employees, and they're as visible as I've ever seen the police department in Pittsfield. I was here since 1989, and I can tell you what's going on and stuff like this. I can't wait for the next one. Right? This isn't the last one. And I mean, I think for a time there's kind of an idea that, you know, maybe we drive by some of the shadier areas, and that was the perception in the town. And to see that stuff is happening, that sums it right up. I mean, this isn't a place to deal drugs. That's what that says, right?
I've slowed down a lot too.
I really, yeah, it does. But I really appreciate, you know, digging in and being visible and getting on Facebook. And I don't love Facebook, right? But people are on there and they see good things going on, and I think the energy is contagious. And I hope, and it will happen, other departments are going to follow suit. Everyone's going to push hard to compete with good, positive energy, and I thank you for that. And I'm really excited for the next one, right? Thanks for this, but I want the next one. So, thank you.
Probably no more than the chief and his crew.
You know.
All set, Eric?
Yes.
Very well. Councilor Donahue, please.
Oh, come on now.
Oh.
Hey,
You thought you had my pattern, didn't you? I'm going to go next, and Howard's going to go last.
All right. I'm going to go back a couple pages now. So, echo what other people have said. Thank you to the PD for the update. It's really important for us to know what's going on, as well as the general public to be able to seeing this and having the media release and the articles in the paper and on the radio apparently about how active our police department is, and really, I think the leap forward on leadership has been huge. And I really like that characterization of the leap forward. It's like nothing incremental. It's just we're going to go from here, and we're going to go here, and this is where we want to be. And it's clear that you have a vision and that you are pursuing that vision wholeheartedly. So thank you for that. And all the officers that are coming right along with you, and you're kind of checking things along. So that's exciting to see. I want to thank Mike and Scott for coming and just being a cheerleader for the town and development in the town. We need more of that. I totally agree with you. We need more of that. We need more people to kind of join that idea of having a vision of what can be. From the time we first drove through Pittsfield, when we first came to look at our farm property, I told my husband, I was like, this town has a lot of possibility. That was like the feeling that I got when we drove through town. You know, we came down the Webb Road, we got off the highway, we went to the farm, we came down the Webb Road, we had to go find Kim to get the keys from him. He was off fixing his roof one day. We drove through town, I'm like, what is that building? And I saw MCI. You know, and then I saw the church and the library and the town offices and the rail station, which looks so much better now than it did 12 years ago. You know, and it's just, this is a town of possibilities. And I love planning and I love envisioning what can be, but I don't want to be so focused on what we can see and what we can do that we're not paying attention to the things that are right in front of us and steps that we can take now. And that's why I'm so passionate about trying to move the theater building, because it's something that can happen now and get those little steps started, because it does have to start somewhere. You know, and if we're constantly waiting for something else to come along, you never get started on what you need to do. And thanks to Mike Gray for coming in. Peak is going to be having a meeting soon to talk about Becky talked about economic development. We've tossed around some ideas of having an advertising plan for the town and updating the economic development plan. So those are things that are coming up. And I'm going to get with him this coming week about setting a meeting for that. Excited about Rennie's moving out to the old Rite Aid building to fill that space. I think it's going to be a great fit for them. Hopefully they'll actually have a little bit larger women's section now. You guys have the whole first floor, and then the ladies have like 2 shelves upstairs. But yeah, so I think that's really exciting, and it can open up lots of possibilities for the downtown area. Yeah, so I think that we're full of possibilities, and let's see where we go with them. The PPI coming up at the end of the month, I'm really excited about that meeting and seeing kind of what the planners have in store and kind of where that's going to start and actually get that going, because we're like almost a year.
Not the fruit's ripe, or at least the buds on the tree.
Kicking it around. Yeah. So I'm excited to see that. And spring, don't forget to put your clocks back on Sunday. Forward. Going forward. So.
Well, there's one talking point now I have to talk about.
Spring's coming.
I thought for sure it was going to be original.
So, that's what
Say
I
that
have tonight, yes.
All right, thank you. Deputy Mayor Margolski, please.
Thank you, sir. I just want to reiterate what's been said about the police force, and I appreciate the conversations I've had with Chief Morris and his tour that I took last week around the department. It looks so much better, and even though it's a police station, it's even more inviting. So I also appreciate the recent discussion regarding the Zoom. I think the Zoom meeting, although we shouldn't have what went on last time, I think the potential give and take of Zoom and participation of citizens is very important, and the town hall meeting doesn't give us that. The only other thing I want to say is that I'm approaching 75 this year, and Jan is even older than I am, if you could believe it. This comment that in 5 years, take a look at maybe we can take the maybe out of it. I don't really want to wait 5 years, and I hope that this is my first year on the council for a second time, and I hope that by the time I'm finished with the council this time, that we can definitely take the maybe out of it, and at least have plans heading forward. So that's all I want to say right now. Thanks.
All right, Doc, thank you very much. So I'll try to be brief as possible if we go into executive session. So I'm not going to add any more pain and embarrassment to Chief, and I won't continue on the Chief Morris love fest, but, we all believe the same thing, that, well-deserved praise, and not only you, but your officers and departments. So please share that with everyone that you have there. And I think the town's very happy, lucky, and proud to have you all on board. So thank you all very much. And I do want to thank the audience, anyone who shows up, participates. I always encourage that. There have been meetings here where 7 councilors and the town manager, there's 8. We outnumber the people in the audience 8-0. So this is fantastic. It doesn't have to be a hot button topic just to sit and take part. So I thank you and your family for being here. I know it's a struggle for you little girls there, but I think it's fantastic. It's a good habit. So thank you for showing up again, everybody. Catherine, if you would please let the ladies up in the office know that what they do is exceptional. I've always had nothing but professional service. They've always smiled. They're very pleasant, very kind. They get the information I requested, and they do the best they can as quickly as they can. Plus, they deal with everyone else in the office. So please let them know. I know they don't hear it nearly enough, but they do a fantastic job given the stress that I'm sure that job still has and probably always will, just the nature of the beast. But please let them all know.
They do appreciate your comments.
Okay, good. And I'll try to get some more muffins and donuts.
Yes, thank you. They like
I'll bring out the dogs for the PD. How's that? And I just want to close. I'm very happy and proud to serve with each and every one of you councils, because you challenge me, and I hope I challenge you, because we all have different views. 7 of us will have 7 opinions, but for the most part, we always end up with a common result. And as has been said before, we don't have to agree, but we should listen and we should respect, and I hope I show that, and I hope that if I don't, that you remind me publicly, privately, I don't care. Because I need to represent not only myself and the person that my dad raised, but this position, as mayor, this person is council, and the people I represent the town and the town itself. And I think every one of you do that, so I appreciate your input. Now, as an example, I was ready to get rid of Zoom, didn't want it, didn't need it, let's get rid of it. I don't want that to ever happen again. And that would have devastated me if there were people in here that offended. I thought, well, what if my mom was in here? But it didn't happen. But here in the discourse tonight, some excellent points. Heather and Eric, Jason, everyone came up with excellent points. Yeah, let's keep it. I have no problem with that. I think it's a really good idea. So thank you very much for keeping me rooted, keeping me hopefully non-emotional, not necessarily logical, but thank you very much for your input. So with that, I will close the meeting. I will ask for a motion for executive session, please.
I move we move to executive session.
Moved and seconded. Thank you very much. We are in executive session. Thank you very much, folks. Thank you all very much. So is that station 939?
Like the old classic country.
Was that recorded?
It's gotta be recorded.
So it is like-